So in this problem, we're going to complete actually 3 parts. We're given 2 aqueous reactants, barium nitrate, sodium carbonate, and from that we're going to write out the complete molecular, the complete ionic, and the net ionic equations given those reactants. Now the easiest way to do this is to first write out part of the complete ionic. So I'm going to do that below here. And so we know that barium nitrate is aqueous, and so what that's really going to break up into is a barium ion, that's going to be aqueous, and 2 nitrate ions. And it's going to break up into 2 nitrate ions because we've got 2 nitrate ions here. And then our sodium carbonate is going to break up into 2 sodium ions and, go ahead and write aqueous there, and a carbonate ion. And we want to see how are those 2 things going to combine. And so what we want to do is use something that I've always called the belly button rule. We've got innies and outies. So we can combine our 2 inner ions there and combine our 2 outer ions there in order to swap partners in a double replacement reaction and see if they might form a precipitate, a solid. And so let's look at barium and carbonate there. Now when we look at our solubility tables, we see that carbonates are primarily insoluble, but there are some exceptions. However, barium is not one of those exceptions. So when barium and carbonate come together, they will form a salt that is not soluble. And so barium carbonate will actually form a solid BaCO3. So that's going to be solid there. And then the other result, the sodium and the nitrate, if we look at our solubility rules, we see that both sodium compounds, or any compounds that contain nitrates, are always soluble. So that means they will not form precipitate, and so we're still going to have 2 sodium ions, aqueous there, and 2 nitrate ions, also aqueous, there as well. And so that allows us to kind of finish that top molecular reaction. We know that we're going to get barium carbonate in a solid form, and we're going to get 2 sodium nitrate ions, and we know that they are going to be aqueous. Okay, so now we've got our complete ionic in the blue and our molecular equation in the black and the red there. Now the last thing we want to do is our net ionic equation, and in order to do a net ionic equation, what we want to do is look at our complete ionic and cross out anything that shows up in both the products and the reactants. When we do that, we see that our sodium plus aqueous cancel out and our 2 nitrate ions cancel out. And what that leaves us with is a barium 2 plus ion plus carbonate 2 minus ion, also aqueous, forming barium carbonate solid.